Episode 15, The Hoxsey Formula, Herbs, Healers, and Harassment, the original Outlaw cancer clinic that just wouldn't die. It's the 1920s. A stubborn, mustachioed Texan named Harry Hoxsey stands on the front steps of a dusty clinic, flanked by desperate patients and bottles of a blood-red herbal tonic. A naturopathic doctor from Illinois swears he has the cure for cancer, passed down from his horse-tending grandfather who watched a sick mare heal herself munching wild weeds. And he's not charging you a dime if you can't pay. Word spreads. The lines grow. Newspapers print stories of miraculous recoveries. But there's a catch. America's new medical empire is watching. And when your cure doesn't come in a bottle from Big Pharma, they'll call you a quack, or worse. This is the story of the Outlaw cancer clinic that wouldn't die until the FDA came knocking with guns drawn. I'm Dr. Kristen Lindgren, and welcome back to the Dysfunction Files. Because medical history is essential to fully understanding our current, seemingly corrupted system, I plan to sprinkle these buried stories in and amongst the straight medical ones. I think it's important that you hear them, and it's important that we don't forget these brave pioneers, people who gave their careers, and in some cases, their lives, to truly help patients. I submit to you that a clear pattern will emerge in all of these files, a pattern known by some as the disinformation playbook. You see, natural therapies can't be owned by industry. They can't be patented. So when they work, the machine takes notice, and then it takes action. For more than a century, these therapies have been ridiculed, suppressed, mocked, replaced by similar products that could be patented, and their stories rewritten. In my episode on the dark side of the AMA, we briefly discussed what happened to Royal Raymond Rife. We'll revisit that in depth soon. But today, it's the Hoxsey Formula: herbs, healers, and a century of harassment. Let's get into it. The original formula. Harry Hoxsey's so-called cure wasn't hidden behind locked lab doors. It was a simple brew, a folk recipe passed down from his grandfather, who claimed he watched a sick horse heal itself grazing on wild plants. Hoxsey's tonic combined red clover, burdock root, licorice, poke root, prickly ash bark, herbs meant to purify the blood and cleanse cancer from within. Externally, patients got Hoxsey's infamous black paste, zinc chloride mixed with bloodroot, a caustic salve designed to draw out tumors right through the skin. The sight was gruesome, but for many, it was worth it. To the AMA and FDA, this was primitive nonsense. Pure snake oil peddled by a backwoods quack. But for thousands too poor or too burned by failed surgery and radiation, Hoxsey's red tonic and black salve were a last hope. And to Hoxsey, it was a moral obligation. No one was ever turned away for lack of money. The courtroom warrior. You'd think Harry Hoxsey, arrested more than 200 times, would have been crushed by the medical machine. But this cowboy didn't just mix herbs. He fought back. In dusty courtrooms from Texas to Chicago. When Morris Fishbein, the AMA's so-called medical Mussolini, smeared him as the worst cancer quack alive, Hoxsey sued him for libel, and won.
No intelligent person could possibly believe in such quackery.
Fishbein, the self-proclaimed gatekeeper of modern medicine, never treated a single patient, but spent decades deciding who could. Under his watch, the AMA used the Flexner Report to wipe out homeopathic, naturopathic, and herbal schools that competed with pharma-funded universities. Even more ironic, Fishbein's AMA ran cigarette ads for decades, pocketing millions while telling Americans to fear folk medicine and trust the Marlboro Man.
According to this repeated nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
In court, Hoxsey lined up cured patients like human evidence. Farmers, housewives, children once sent home to die, now standing tall, waving test results. The jury sided with the outlaw. Fishbein was forced to resign in disgrace, admitting under oath that Hoxsey's formula cured external cancers. He even flipped enemies into allies. Al Templeton, the Dallas assistant DA who arrested Hoxsey over 100 times, brought his own brother to him for treatment when he was diagnosed with cancer. When his brother survived, Templeton switched sides and became Hoxsey's attorney. And then there was James Wakefield Burke, the Esquire journalist who in 1939 traveled to Texas to expose Hoxsey as a fraud. After investigating Hoxsey's cancer treatment, he went on to publish an article entitled "The Quack Who Cured Cancer," and became Hoxsey's publicist after witnessing patient recoveries himself. Testimonials and impossible recoveries. By the 1950s, Hoxsey's clinics were booming, treating up to 17,000 patients a year. His Dallas Cancer Clinic became the largest private cancer treatment center in America, with branches in 17 different states. They came by train and bus from tiny farm towns and crowded cities. Housewives clutching family savings, farmers bringing neighbors, even skeptical doctors sending their own desperate relatives when modern medicine failed them. Hoxsey claimed to have cured thousands. He proudly kept imaging scans, pathology slides, handwritten charts, a mountain of proof, but none of it good enough for the AMA. To them, this was quackery. To his patients, it was salvation. Funny thing, their voices never made it into the prestigious journals. Instead, they made it into courtrooms, scrapbooks, and yellowed local papers that seem to have vanished when you look for them today. Suppression and raid. But when you claim to cure cancer outside the system fights back. The FDA didn't just issue warnings. They raided Hoxsey's clinics again and again, padlocking doors, hauling off boxes of patient files, arresting nurses and staff. At times, federal agents stormed in with guns drawn, treating a folk healer like a gangster. Some say more patients died waiting for those endless court battles than from the disease itself. Yet somehow Hoxsey survived, wave after wave, fighting in courtrooms, paying bail, reopening doors the day after a raid. But exhaustion and legal debt took their toll. By 1960, the last U.S. Hoxsey clinic was forced to close its doors for good. But Hoxsey? He wasn't done yet. The clinic that wouldn't die. Today, if you drive south, past the border into Tijuana, Mexico, you'll find a stubborn ghost still standing. The Biomedical Center, the last remnant of Hoxsey's outlaw cancer clinics. They still brew his original herbal formulas, still smear that black paste on tumors, still carry the torch that Fishbein and the FDA tried to snuff out. To the FDA, it's dangerous quackery that slipped through the cracks. To desperate families turned away by modern oncology with a cold, there's nothing more we can do. It's hope. Hope wrapped in old weeds and old defiance. Quackery or campaign. So was Harry Hoxsey just a slick-talking snake oil salesman getting rich off folk recipes? Or was he a stubborn folk hero, standing his ground against a new medical machine that couldn't figure out how to patent weeds growing in a Texas pasture. Maybe both things can be true. Maybe neither. Maybe it doesn't even matter. Because when a cure costs pennies and threatens billion-dollar chemo wards, the story usually ends the same way. Raids, ridicule, erasure, until someone brave enough picks it back up again. The outlaw lives on. Harry Hoxsey died in 1974, but his herbal clinics didn't. His patients didn't forget. His story reminds us, sometimes the biggest threat to medicine isn't the disease. It's the cure they can't control. I'll be honest, telling these stories isn't easy for me. Cancer has hit my own family hard. 2 diagnosed with late-stage cancer. I lost my father in 2021 after a 9-month battle with stage 4 esophageal cancer. Trying to read through this episode was harder than I expected, but I believe it's worth it. We can't afford to forget these hidden chapters. Being a medical maverick is dangerous, frustrating, and at times downright frightening. But it's why I personally went into medicine in the first place. Not to peddle the drugs and dogma of the machine, but to find the root cause and help patients to truly be well again, by whatever means necessary. That'll do it for me. I'm Dr. Kristen Lindgren, and thank you all again so very much for tuning in to another episode of the Dysfunction Files. If you found this episode interesting or entertaining, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and share it with a friend. Those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in learning more about holistic cancer care, please check out our website, some of my other videos, or give our office a call. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay skeptical. Keep learning, because when you do, you'll discover how you are in control of your own healthcare. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now.